Hi guys, welcome back.
I'm Robbie Butler.
And I'm Marty.
And together we are
Mind Your
Bap. It's the fourth time we've done that without missing.
We're doing well here.
Getting good at it.
Never mind the outtakes, but yeah.
What did you think of last week, Marty? With Aaron Shankson, dance, movement therapy?
I thought it was brilliant. I would sit on fairy myself and stuff like that I find a little awkward for me to do, but to be honest, doing that little exercise, I thought it was brilliant and I got a bit of benefit from it. I felt relaxed after it. So, with yourself?
Interesting, she did a wee exercise with us, guys. I don't know if any of you did it along with us, but she asked us to close our eyes and she spoke very gently and softly, which I thought was a key part of that relaxation exercise. And she didn't have a lot of time to use the props and show us what she does, but I think it's something that is worth looking at, something that's worth exploring, because it might be part of your journey, it might be something that helps you live a better life, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yes, indeed, yes.
So
who we got now then? We'll have Debbie Mahaffey now, as we do, and she's going to come in and tell us a little bit about her story and what she does as well. So,
do you know Debbie?
I do indeed, yes, I do. Actually, funny, a family sort of connection. I got speaking to Debbie for the first time this time last year, and when she told me what she'd done, I thought it was brilliant. So I'm just glad that, year on, and this is one we've got her on. So yeah, well, yourself.
Just before Debbie comes in to share with us, I've watched a lot of Debbie's videos on Facebook and through transformations, and it's absolutely fabulous. It's really, really good. So there'll be a link along here. Not here. I'm getting this right every week. I'm getting better at this. Okay, there'll be a link along the bottom here to take you to Debbie's Facebook and those videos. There's fabulous videos. But how Debbie really, I knew of Debbie because I know some of the family, but I didn't know what Debbie was doing. But what happened was, some people contacted me and said, if anybody comes to you, perhaps you want to signpost to Debbie because she has really helped me. She really helped a lot of ladies who I'd be friendly with. So I learned a little bit more about Debbie's journey and the steps that she's taken to help other people, which is anybody that helps anybody else, I'm over that. That's my favourite thing.
I agree. And on that note, she's helping a family member of mine, so I can personally speak and say that she's impacted her life massively as well. So can't speak highly enough about Debbie too. So I have to agree with you there, Robbie.
Well, here there's too much masculinity in this shop. I think what we need to do is bring a bit of feminism in here.
Agreed.
And bring in the lovely Debbie Mahaffey.
There's no pressure there.
No pressure. Is this like the rose between two thorns, or
I agree.
Is that too snoozing?
Thank you, what a welcome. Thank you very much.
Good to have you on Mind Your Bap, Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you, Marty.
No problem.
You take it away for a few minutes, and then we'll have a conversation, sure.
Okay. Well, thank you. For me, Debbie Mahaffey, and I suppose I am the person between Debbie Mahaffey and Life Transformation. So I'm a life coach, and both first and foremost, I'm an amazing woman. There you go.
Yep, you're an amazing woman.
Well, I'm an amazing mum and an amazing nanny. That's my core, really. And I suppose within that, you might get difference of opinions. I'm just thinking with my kids, if they were in here, they might not say I'm amazing all the time.
No comment.
No comment. So from that point of view, I believe my work really, I've trained as a life coach and counsellor background, but my main work is empowering people to live the best life that they can. So that's basically what I see myself doing.
Yes.
It's a lot of it's been informed by my work for over 21 years. I've worked in the area of domestic violence and sexual violence, so I've seen how the impact of that has torn families apart and wrecked families. So I want to do my best to try to change things, and that's how I got involved with all the mental health stuff over the years.
Brilliant.
So yeah, that's me.
I think what we'll do is just get this right. So we're going to pop a couple of numbers across here for helplines, that if there's an instance of domestic violence, sexual violence, that there'll be a number going across here. There are a number of fabulous organisations in Northern Ireland, and these are their helplines. These are the numbers if you need to connect with them. And Debbie, some of the testimonies that I've received about the impact that you've had in different people's lives has been phenomenal. So that's where your journey began, but it's multifaceted and it's wider than that, obviously. And obviously from our interest in mental health and going on this journey and trying to improve, we like to call it building mental strength, changing some of the terminology and empowering people. So I know that's a big part of what you do is empowerment. So do you want to tell us about some of your strategies, how you go about?
Well, suppose first and foremost, I would say about me personally. In my life, I suppose I was a child who grew up within domestic violence, And I learned very quickly within a family that there's messages that go through it, and until you know different, you think that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So again, I worked a lot. You were talking earlier on, Robbie, about prevention programs around prevention of suicide, and I learned that that's the way to go forward with any issue that is hidden. And domestic, how I got involved with the suicide stuff, I suppose family, through all of that, and my own family, I've had experiences of suicidal ideation. Thank God it never turned till any, you know, life still stayed with us. But the reality for me was that supporting people through that and how that affected me personally was just, you have to gain strength from somewhere.
Yeah.
But unless there's a lot of support around you, you don't necessarily know it's there. So my idea of empowerment is getting people to just even to begin to accept that if they could change their own thought systems, then there's people just waiting to catch you.
Yeah, you're right.
Catch you before you fall.
Yep.
So for me then, that's, and my own journey that I was talking about really was over the last 3 years I became a widow myself, and gosh, the pit that I fell into, I never believed that I was going to climb out of, and at times didn't want to climb out of it.
Yeah, and that's just, sorry for jumping in here, but I know some of your family, Debbie, and a fabulous family. So on the face of it, it would look like, you know, everything's is right, but grief is almost it's a strange animal. Sometimes even in those places you can't see the wood for the trees. For some of those, you know, that's.
I agree there. You know, my mother as well lost her partner coming on maybe 8 years there, and just watching, you know, my wee mother, you know, bubbly, just watching her go from that bubbly lady basically to down, as you said, the pitfall was hard to watch, you know, but it just with time and strength and family around you, just picks you back up, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think through my time of grief, one of the things that really stood out for me was that we hear in suicide that you want pain to stop. And some pain doesn't ever feel like it's going to stop.
Yes.
So in the pain bit, I was looking outside of myself at all my family in pain, but not wanting to cause them pain. So I hear so many of these, you know, these, to call them stories kind of minimises them. It's life, and it's people's life. So to hear people say that they want to just make everything okay, but the last thing they can make okay is their own life, and that's the difficulty. So one of the things that was profound for me at the time was listening to another woman talk about, in the sadness of despair, not wanting to be here, at the same time hearing, gosh, actually you've got another day to look forward to, when a lot of people don't.
That's right.
And that was actually the kick up the ass I needed. Get up and enjoy your day. So that's what I spend my time trying to do now, is to let people see that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So within that, if you could look at your life just one wee bit different, all the stuff that you guys are doing, all the stuff that stars are doing here in Lifeline as well, and all the organisations that are there, oh my goodness, there's so many people just waiting on you.
And the interesting thing is people want to help.
Absolutely.
People actually want to help. I'm going to fire Debbie's details across the front in terms of how to connect with her and how you would contact her, but as I do that, Debbie, would you like to just reiterate where your forums are and how people would contact you if they wanted to?
No problem. I am based here in Lisburn. As I say, I'm a life coach, but I'm also a freelance trainer and facilitator, so I do a lot of work around community groups and around empowerment programs. But your main contact for me is Debbie Mahaffey Life Transformations through Facebook, and also I have my own website, which is debbiemahaffey.com. So that's where you get me.
Cool.
Brilliant. And on that note, Debbie, then, do you have any tasks for the guys at home, and probably me and Robbie as well, while we're sitting here? Do you have anything you can get us to do?
The task, I suppose, I'm trying to think, they cut me on the spot, Marty. I suppose really it's just about, quite often what we do, the main thing is we look at what's not working in our lives. So a simple task that I get people to do is every night when you get into your bed and you lift your feet off the floor, you have a task to do. And your task is to remember 5 things today.
Write these down.
That you're thankful for, and you don't have to write them down. But it could be the hot cup of tea, it could be that, you know, it could be anything. But today, I'm thankful for the fact that you've given me this opportunity to talk about what I do, and to praise you guys too, by the way.
Thank you.
But equally, so it's the 5 things you're thankful for, but then don't just end it there, because tomorrow's a new day. Think of tomorrow is what are you looking forward to. And if you get into the habit of that, you start looking for the small things in your life, which make up, they're actually the big things.
Yeah. It's a little bit like training the brain.
Absolutely.
I think we talked about this in our first video, where the brain is like a muscle, and first of all, what you feed it is important.
Yes.
And that's your thought processes, that's the things you concentrate on. But you need to keep exercising the brain, and I just love what you're doing. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Debbie, with regard to, for instance, with the people that you're meeting at the moment, what is the perhaps the biggest pressure on people that are coming to you? Is there anything that stands out as an absolute issue at the moment?
Well, again, when you give me the opportunity, Marty, when you contacted me, it made me think about, well, what is the things that I would like to share so that somebody sitting at home could get this message. But again, because of my background in domestic violence, I learned that a hidden issue like suicide, like mental health, and do you know the other thing too, actually, we have this idea that mental health belongs to someone else over there with the label. I did an interesting program last week. I was working with a group of women, and one of the things that we did, I drew up an imaginary coat, if you like, and I asked them, what's the label around mental health? So I got all these names that came up for mental health, and then I said, well, look behind, what's below the mental health? And that became your depression, that became all the issues that are there, anxiety, suicide, all that. And I said, well, let's go below that again. What is actually the cause of that? So that's where domestic violence come in, that's where there's so many, I think a lot of my work, just not just said that, Robbie, just give me the opportunity to talk about that, is I am shocked by how many people have so much going on that are actually coping with their life and doing the best they can. And they need venues like this. They need to hear me talk about my mental health, that it wasn't okay, and here I am working as a life coach, here I am working as a counsellor, but it doesn't work like that all the time.
No.
And the other side of it is they need to hear us all say that we all have problems with how we think sometimes. And
I think it's really important to recognise this, so people like yourself, who you're helping people, you're empowering people, but you're still living. You've still got family problems, families, you've got physical things going on. I know you're very young, Debbie, but we're all getting older. So I'm going to ask you, how do you, what do you do, or how do you look after your own mental health? Because I do know that in doing this type of work, it's not easy. And because if you've got a heart, sometimes it's heavy. We carry it quite a bit. What do you do for your own sort of personal therapy?
I need to have mentors around me. I need to have someone who helps supervise me around the way that I work with people, or else you're so right. You can sometimes there's lines that get blurred. You don't know whether am I thinking that way, or is that something I've taken from someone else? But I listen to a lot of read a lot of self-help books. Listen to a lot of visualizations and meditations. And generally just walk, swim. My thing's swimming, I love to swim. So I swim in the mornings, but whatever works for you, and it can be anything as long as it's a healthy option. But sometimes wine kicks in too.
I agree. When I first met you, a couple had a free team
only wine you was Buckfast, to be fair, man.
I was on a beer, I was on a beer. But no, it's funny you said. One thing I usually do if I feel like it's a good idea, if something happens during the day it's bad, I'll usually just say to myself, this is a challenge. And you know what? I'm either on this challenge to defeat me, or I can overcome it and move on. And what you find is if you kind of develop, if you can't get that around, it actually helps a lot, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It helps your mind, it helps you get through your days with those, because there will be challenges, and it's just finding your way to get over them, I suppose, isn't it?
Before we move on to the thought for the day, which you're going to deliver, Debbie, Marty, could you just remind people how to subscribe, how to hook in with us, and what we're about again?
That's correct, no worries. So basically, along the bottom here, there's going to be our YouTube and our Twitter popping up somewhere here. And I want you to click and subscribe, please. If you could double click the wee bell on YouTube to subscribe, again, you'll be able to keep up to date with what we're doing. Again, it's every Sunday at 7 PM. And what else?
Well, all I will say is that we've got quite a lot of offers of people coming in to tell their story. So coming up in the next few weeks, we will have a few personal testimonies of people who have went through a period in their life of self-harm, both a young lady, a very brave young lady, is going to come and give her story, and there's a gentleman friend of mine, and very often self-harm isn't talked about in the context of men doing it.
Right, yeah.
It's a really interesting and powerful testimony there, and we've also got a number of other stakeholders, shall we say, from the Lisbon area. Paul Oldham from Alchemy's coming in to talk about what he's doing up at Alchemy and what that ideology and around that. And you've got a friend coming in because you were sharing sort of pictures. We'll not give him put his name out here at the minute, but a fabulous story and one that made me think about the story of that guy. So some really interesting stuff coming up in the next few weeks, guys. We'll try and give you a little bit of notice about who's coming on, and I just want to thank Debbie, and if you would just leave the guys with the message for the week, that would be great.
Okay, favourite quote of all time is by a guy called Wayne Dyer, who said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, and that includes your life.
Right. Amen to that. And guys, thanks for watching. We are
Mind your back.